This week, I'm taking you inside what life actually looks like as a finance strategy manager working in the heart of London's financial district, the Square Mile. I'll be talking you through the key parts of my week, from the commute to the workload and how I balance it all around the rest of my life. So, here's a week in my life in the city. Let's get started with day one. My company's office policy dictates that we need to do 2 days per week in the office. I always like to do Mondays in the office as I'm usually really productive and get a lot done. I head out around 7:40 and walk to the station. It's cold and dark in winter, but luckily I only live a 2-minute walk from the station. I'll grab my tickets and catch a train to Paddington, change to the tube, then get off at Liverpool Street before a final short walk to the office. On the train, I pop on some headphones and listen to white noise for focus and study Korean and Japanese vocab to make the most out of the downtime. Arriving at the office, I get myself set up, grab myself a coffee, fill up my water bottle and then start my day. Before going into too much detail about my day, let's break down what kind of work I actually do. Work type 1 is proactive assessment, what I look for before anything else exists. A big part of my role as a strategy manager is identifying where the company could be operating better and turning that into something actionable. That could be financial, technical, productivity related, or somewhere in between. My background is technical, so a lot of my focus is on understanding how new technologies, especially AI, can be applied in a way that actually adds value beyond the buzzwords. At this stage, it's mostly scoping, understanding where we're less competitive and turning those observations into inputs for planning and strategy papers later on. The second major work type is the creation of proposals and executive papers, turning ideas into decisions. Once an opportunity is clear, the next step is proposing a change. This involves analysis, data, and a lot of collaboration across different teams. The output is usually a proposal paper that sets out the change, the financials, the benefits, and the risks. That paper is then taken to senior executives to get approval and sponsorship. The third work type is the execution of the change, making it real. After achieving executive approval, I'm responsible for overseeing the delivery. I work closely with leaders in the affected areas to make sure expectations are clear, and I act as a coordinator where cross-functional work is needed. That usually means working with engineering, risk, governance and legal, and having some fairly challenging conversations because not everyone is naturally comfortable with change. The fourth bucket of work is financial realization, where I prove the work was worth it. Once a strategy is implemented, I need to demonstrate that it actually delivered value. That's usually financial, whether that's reduced infrastructure costs, fewer licenses, or changes to how resources across the organisation are used. I'll typically write a lessons learned summary and a short executive update that highlights what worked, what didn't, and the net benefit. Finally, we have side of desk work. That's everything that isn't on the job description. This is work that doesn't always directly contribute to formal objectives, but it helps build visibility across the organisation. In large corporates, performance recognition isn't only about your day-to-day output, it's about being visible, contributing beyond your immediate role, and getting involved in wider initiatives as they often carry just as much weight. Jumping back into Monday, I start by reviewing my calendar, prepping anything needed for the day, and getting into focus work. Today's main task was refining an executive paper due next week. They're frustrating because it's hours of work for just minutes of discussion, but they matter. For lunch, I sometimes bring food and sometimes grab something. Lately, I'm into toast or Asenam's 56, which I got today. I always take a walk at lunch as it helps clear my head and helps with the thinking parts of strategy. In the afternoon, I had a technical assessment of a new internal tool, a supplier session about their latest capabilities, and an update to my Line Manager Plus One about a high-profile piece of work that I'm leading. By the end of the day, I capture everything outstanding onto a to-do list, and at 4:30 I head out to go to gymnastics. I head for the tube station, stopping at Tesco along the way to pick up a mid-afternoon snack, then take the tube for one stop and take a short walk to the gym. I'm really into gymnastics at the moment, usually 3 to 4 hours per session. After gymnastics, I'll head home via the Elizabeth line, passing through Paddington once more and then a final short walk home. Upon getting home, I quickly whipped up some dinner before doing a little bit more work since I left early today. I also did my Japanese homework before my lesson at 11 PM, and then finally at 12 o'clock I went to bed. Mondays are usually on the busy side for me, but that's not reflective of my entire week. Tuesday was a working from home day. I started by running a quick errand and making myself a coffee. I'm not exactly a coffee connoisseur, so I just drink instant. I tend to put my meetings on my working from home days like today, so my whole day was basically back-to-back meetings. At lunch, I grabbed something quick from Kokoro, then doubled up my walk as a quick shopping trip. The afternoon was very much the same, with meetings until the end of the day. I made dinner for myself and my partner. Today was egg fried rice. I then had one of my 2 Korean lessons of the week and then headed down to the gym for a treadmill run. My partner and I then chilled for a couple of hours, and I stayed up late to get some homework and admin done. On Wednesday, I travelled to our Birmingham office for a face-to-face team planning session. As it was just a day trip, it was an early start. I made my way to Birmingham via a few different trains and then walked to the office from there. As it was during the Christmas season, the Christmas markets were there, which were nice to see. The day itself was largely uneventful. It was simply a day of planning our Q1 activity, which is as boring as it sounds. As a saving grace, we ventured to the Christmas markets for lunch, and I had an unreasonably large frankfurter, followed by a slightly underwhelming donut. After the planning session was over, I headed back home, grabbing an overpriced coffee on the way. Upon getting home, I cooked fried rice with some leftover chicken and cabbage, which was delicious. I headed to the local shop to pick up some ice cream, which my partner and I shared while watching TV before heading to bed. Thursday was another working from home day, pretty similar to Tuesday. I had meetings all day, only broken up by a quick lunch and a short walk. After work, I went for a run, and my partner made dinner for us. Because of all the meetings and the team meeting yesterday, I had a fair bit of work left over, so I did a couple more hours in the evening to catch up. I don't usually do that, but sometimes it's needed. After that, I spent some time chilling with my partner and then called it a night. And Friday, the last working day and my final working from home day, is typically a bit more chill. It was a mix of meetings and focus work, but nothing massively different from any other day. Generally speaking, more people are off on Fridays, and unless there is a big deadline upcoming, there's less to do. I therefore tend to do a lot more side of desk activity on Fridays and use it to make sure I'm keeping up appearances. I had my usual quick lunch and walks, and this time opted to finish up a bit early at 4 o'clock to go watch Zootopia 2 with my partner. It's really cheesy, but a nice feel-good film, so if that's your thing, I definitely recommend it. We got back, ordered a quick takeaway, and had a lovely chill evening. I didn't do any exercise today because I tried to keep at least one evening exercise free so I can relax and not burn out. Moving on to the weekend, on Saturday I had a nice lie-in and then I took my partner to Winter Wonderland, where we had a lovely time eating overpriced food and enjoying winter vibes. We make sure to go every year, as whilst it has its shortcomings, it makes for a lovely date because there's lots to do, even if you do end up queuing a lot. After getting home, I went out again to meet a few friends to catch up, and then came home and studied a bit before heading to bed. Then finally on Sunday, my partner and I started the day by doing our weekly deep clean of the flat. Then I went out for my long run, which I do every week. I did my homework for my second Korean class of the week and spent some time shopping for Christmas presents online. My fiancé and I are looking to get married within the next couple of years, so we spent some time doing wedding planning and looking at venues. I then had my Korean lesson, had dinner, and then had a nice chill evening, wrapping up the week with a nice chill day. And that's about it. That was a whole week in my life. Was it what you expected? Let me know your thoughts, or if there's anything else you would like me to go into more detail on in the comments. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day.